What's up, guys? Jordan McAbee here, fantasyracingonline.com, home of the Slingshot Fantasy Auto Contest, and we're back with the Go Bowling at the Glen, Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is one of the original, I guess is the best way to put it, road courses. Before they started adding the Rovals and Road America and the Indy Road Course, where we'll be next week. NASCAR typically just went to Sonoma and Watkins Glen, and they both had their individual characteristics that made them different, but it was pretty much the same. It was a road course, and you could lump them together, and you could look at that data, and we knew who was good. Now we still have a very good idea of who is good at these racetracks, but you kind of have to separate the traditional road courses versus the Rovals, because they are they're separate in categories. And certain drivers do a little bit better at the Rovals and a little bit worse at traditional, and vice versa. For example, we've seen Kyle Busch do very bad at the Rovals. He's actually a very good road course racer. So now that we've transitioned back lately this season to the original road courses, we've seen Kyle Busch be his normal self and get top fives. So when we are looking at fantasy data for fantasy this week and kind of get an idea of who runs well, like I said, we really know who runs well in general at road courses, and then we can dig down a little bit further. But this is a very cut and dry week for the Slingshot contest, in my opinion. There's not a lot of different roster combinations that I'm considering for Sunday's race. It's just, we know who's good here. We know who should run really well. And typically we don't see crazy races here at Watkins Glen, especially, like with Rex and stuff. Typically doesn't happen toward the front. Yeah, a guy might spin out. A guy might have an issue like a loose tire or something. But we know who's good, and no reason to kind of deviate from that. Kind of just make your picks, and we'll move on to Indy Road Course and probably do the same exact thing next week, although we will have same-day qualifying. But this weekend at Watkins Glen, the starting lineup was set by the qualifying metrics. Brad Keselowski's on the pole, Joey Logano second, Ryan Blaney third, Kyle Larson, he's starting fourth, and Kevin Harvick rounding out the top five. Hamlin, Bell, Almirola, Truex, and Alex Bowman the top 10. Some place differential plays this week. William Byron starting 15th, Kurt Busch starting 17th. Got Kyle Busch starting 20th. Michael McDowell, who's a pretty good road course racer, starting 25th. Chris Buescher, a very good road course racer, starting 24th. Chase Briscoe, who has shown a lot of potential on the road courses this season, starting 27th. Going to my algorithm predicted finishing order for this race, no surprise, Chase Elliott, number one, predicted to win this race. Kyle Larson coming in at second. I've mentioned it before earlier this season, and even a lot on the Stacking Denny's podcast, which if you haven't checked out this week's episode, go ahead and find that on all major platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. It's on YouTube. It's on fantasyracingonline.com. You can find it there. Make sure you check that out. It's a podcast with RotoDoc and I. If you haven't listened to it before, we talk about all things NASCAR and everything in between, betting, fantasy. This week we talked about sponsorships and stuff like that, breaking news. So make sure you check that out. But Chase Elliott predicted to win according to my algorithm. Kyle Larson, Truex, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, the top five. Kurt Busch, sixth. Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick. There are a few that you need to kind of just make, and I haven't written this full article yet, but I'm going to probably mention a few of these, or a couple of these. I always talk about a couple of them and why they may be overvalued or undervalued with the algorithm. In the article, like I said, I haven't written that yet, but so William Byron has had some awful luck this season and kind of overall on his career at road courses. So that kind of brings down his ranking in the algorithm. a little bit. Same with Christopher Bell. He has legitimate winning potential. He's right there at ninth. That's still a very good ranking for Bell in ninth, but note that he probably, should be a top 5 contender this week. And then going further down, Chase Briscoe, he has a couple top 6 finishes at road courses this year. He should be very strong, probably better than his 18th place predicted finish. Same with Ross Chastain. He's really came on as a road course racer in that 42 car and has a lot higher potential than 21st. You have to think with Ross Chastain, we do have old Cup data with him, and it was all in junk cars, and it's really hard to differentiate those with the algorithm to kind of account for the difference in equipment. I try to. It's something I've built into the algorithm this year to try to, make up and decrease where necessary for car changes for drivers, but it's not perfect. And obviously, Ross Chastain, I think, is getting weighed down quite a bit with that this weekend. But yeah, let's just get right into making lineups. We'll look at, again, driveraverages.com. If you haven't watched any of my videos for any of my Slingshot videos for road courses before, I really like driveraverages.com. DRIVER averages.com, if I'm not speaking clearly enough, especially for road courses, because it allows you to quickly put a ton of data together. It's not like the full loop data. It's not green flag speed. It's not average running position, stuff that I particularly like to check out, but it gives you a very solid overview of which drivers are very good at this type of racetrack. So over here on the left side, you'll see averages by track type. And if we go ahead and click on that, we can then click on road course here in the second column. And it gives us this site is also quite slow to load. I will note that, but gives us a very good for each driver, and then you can come in here to details. So we'll just take a look at Chase Elliott. It is amazingly impressive how good Chase Elliott is at these road course races. But when you go through here and you go through those steps and you go into Chase Elliott, you can then look very quickly how he's done it every single road course in his career. So you look at the last 8 races. So this Daytona road course right here with no race number, that is the Busch Clash from earlier this year. So not a points paying race. So we'll kind of skip that. So you look at the 8 races, last 8 races at road course races. You look at Chase Elliott, first, second, first, 21st. He led 44 laps in that race, though. If you see right here, had a very good car. I think he got damaged or something late. That race got screwy at the end. So first, second, first, 21st, first. Chase Elliott is the best road course racer in the series right now, and it's not even close. For a while there, it was him and Truex, kind of going back and forth. I personally think Truex has fallen off a little bit when it comes to the road course races, or maybe Chase Elliott just got that much better. But Chase Elliott is by far and away the best road course racer in the series. He's the heavy favorite to win this race. He's plus 200 at most sports books. Just a phenomenal pick. So he's starting 11th this week, and we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to lock him in. I don't care that he's the highest priced driver. He's starting 11th. He should win this race. Great pick in the Slingshot Fantasy Auto Contest. If you're going against Chase Elliott, you're really hoping he has like an engine problem or something, because if nothing goes wrong with that car on Sunday, he's at least a top 3 car at worst. Like, he's just that good at this track type. It's not one of those where, I want to be cute and be different. No, you eat this chalk, you go Chase Elliott. He's too good here. My second, no-brainer pick this week is going to be Kyle Busch. Pull up his stats here. So, Kyle Busch, 12,000. He starts 20th. So, plus or minus 2 points per position in this game. You should know that by now. If you know, if you've been playing along and you understand the scoring. But plus or minus 2 positions from your starting to your finish. So starting 20th, if he finishes 5th, that's plus 30 points, plus the points for finishing 5th, plus any stage points. So going back to Kyle Busch specifically at road courses, like I said, he struggled there at once they started going to the Rovals. But you look at this, 3rd at Road America, 5th at Sonoma. He was 10th at COTA this year with that rain race. He won the Busch Clash. Sonoma in 2019, he finished 2nd. Before that, you look at these when we were just racing Watkins, Glen, Sonoma, 3rd, 7th, or 3rd, 5th, 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 2nd, 1st. Kyle Busch is very good at road courses. He starts 20th. He's a great pick in this game. Now, obviously, you could make a case for Kyle Larson up here as well. He's really emerged as one of the top road course racers and just best racer overall. Starts 4th, though, doesn't have that place differential potential as Kyle Busch, plus he's a little bit higher. Could you go off of Chase Elliott down to Kyle Larson and pair him with Kyle Busch? You could. I don't hate that. I think Kyle Larson could win both stages and win the race. So he doesn't have that place differential. Like, he starts 7 spots higher than Elliott. But at the same time, if Kyle Larson wins both stages, leads the most laps, that's 30 points in this game right there. So worth considering if you want to get off Chase Elliott, I'd probably go to Larson or even, pair up Elliott and Larson and go off of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch should be very popular in this game for people that know how to play and know the importance of place differentials. So Kyle Larson still, though, very much in play. Martin Truex Jr., we'll talk about him for a second. 12,300 in this game. He starts 9th. He's I'd say a safe pick. Like I said, I think he's fallen off a little bit on these road courses. So go back to 2019 and 2018, 2017. He had 3 wins in a span of 5 road course races, plus a 2nd. So over how many races here? Over 6 road course races. He finished 1st or 2nd 5 times. Pretty solid. Plus he led a ton of laps. You look through here. But what have you done for me lately? So 2019, September, Charlotte Roval, he led 1 lap. He finished 7th. I think that's the one that he was going to win, but wrecked at the end, if I remember right. It might have been, I forget which one it was. But Daytona Road Course in 2020, he led 10 laps, finished 3rd. 0 laps led at Charlotte Roval last year, finished 7th. Issues at COTA, finished 35th. That was that scary wreck. 12th at Daytona Road Course this year. He had a 3rd at Sonoma. Truex has always been very good at Sonoma. One thing to note that he did start 19th. And then he had just an decent race, finished 9th at Road America. Which, by the way, when comparing similar tracks, I always throw Watkins, Glen, and Sonoma together. They're different, but they're the same. They're the traditional road courses. You can now throw Road America in there. One thing to note about Road America is that track was so abrasive, it was eating up tires. That does play a little bit of a factor. Watkins, Glen, Sonoma, they don't eat up tires like Road America does, and Road America was a much longer track as well. So if you're going to compare stats, I'd throw those 3 together. Circuit of the Americas this year was that rain race. Just completely don't even look at it. We can start looking at that data next year if they race there, and I assume they're going to race there. But if they race there and if it's not rain impacted, then yes, we can start looking at that data. But there's no point to go back and look at that race at all. It was just a shit show and nothing. You can't pull anything from that race at all. So, yeah. So I'm starting my lineup with Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch. 3rd, I'm going down to my typical guy, I guess is a good way to put it. On road course races, Chase Briscoe, he's starting 27th. Very solid road course racer. Starting 27th, that makes him a very safe pick in this game. I think he has top 15, maybe even top 10 potential. If he finishes 15th, he's going to put up a good score in this game. If he moves up 12 spots, he finishes 15th, $7,500 driver. You can't complain about that. looking at how he's done on road courses this year, he did have issues at the Daytona road course. He was running up front, and then he lost his power steering, and then his hood flew up over his windshield. But finished 6th at Coda. Again, put a little mark next to that. That was the rain race. 17th at Sonoma, which is respectable, and then 6th at Road America. I'm expecting Chase Briscoe to finish in that between 6th and 17th range, which if you're moving up like that, starting 27th, in this slingshot game, you're a very solid pick. So I really like Chase Briscoe this week. I think he's solid. Other low-dollar drivers, I don't mind going down to Michael McDowell if you want to, get off of Briscoe. I don't think McDowell doesn't have the upside that Briscoe does. But at the same time, we've seen Michael McDowell finish mid-teens in these races. He struggled at Road America, struggled at Sonoma, but he was 7th at Coda this year. Again, asterisk, 8th at Daytona Road Course. Going back to 2020, he was 10th at Daytona Road Course, 12th at the Charlotte Roval. He was 16th at Watkins Glen when they last race here, 18th the year before, 12th the year before that, 17th the year before that. So definite top 20 potential for Michael McDowell. He starts 25th. If you want to save that $500, you definitely can. I like that. Eric Jones is a sneaky good play this week. We don't get to talk about him often just because of that drop-off in equipment down to Richard Petty Motorsports. But Watkins Glen was his best road course when he was with Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, obviously, he's not in a Joe Gibbs Racing car anymore, but 14th at Daytona Road Course this year, 16th at Coda, 11th at Sonoma, 19th at Road America. Eric Jones should be at least a top 20 driver. Again, I don't like the upside for Eric Jones as much as I like Chase Briscoe, but decent pick down here in this range. I probably wouldn't touch many other people. Stenhouse, maybe. I think Stenhouse is going to finish about where he starts. Cole Custer is always a wild card at these road course races. Taking a look at his stats. And again, not again because I didn't mention this before, but don't always look at average finish. I look at this and I point to average finish, or I point to finish because it's very quick and easy to do when I'm making this video. A lot of my data and in-depth analysis happens when I write my articles, when I run my algorithm. That barely takes into account finish at all. It's purely the rest of the loop data. So recommendation, look at the loop data, look at if you can watch the race. If you have the time to go back and watch these races, make notes of what happened and why drivers were able to finish like they did if they weren't just strong. If you don't have the time to do notes, I'd recommend checking out ifantasyrace.com. Ryan over there works his ass off and provides a ton of notes for each race, and it's always like the remembrance, Cole Custer finished 9th at Charlotte Roval in 2020. Why did that happen? And typically he will interject that into his posts. And definitely, that's another thing we talked about on Stacking Denny's this week is how valuable that website is. And, definitely go over there and support that. Just a ton of great information, especially at these road course events and these road course races where there's a lot of stuff that happens. There's a lot of strategies that plays out. If a driver goes off track, if a driver gets some damage, if a driver spins out on track and there's no caution, there's a reason that guys are put in positions that they are, and it's virtually impossible. I know it's virtually impossible for me to remember that the next year. We don't race, up until this year, we don't race at road courses that often. So it's hard to remember all that unless you have just like a huge database. And even then, that'd be full of just crazy notes from all races. So, just got off on a little bit of tangent there. But anyway, Cole Custer, 17th, 13th, 9th. He has 3 pretty decent finishes in Cup Series. He was 20th at Sonoma. I can see the upside there, but I just don't love the pick, especially at 7,400. If you're at 7,400, just jump up to Chase Briscoe at 7,500. But that's my opinion. Filling out, so the rest of the lineup here, if you're going this route, would be you have 9,000 left in salary. One guy, mid-range guy like so Christopher Bell at 9,200, I think it's a risky play, but there's upside there. He is a very good road course racer. There's no doubt about that. And when he doesn't have issues, he's a contender to win. He was second at Road America. He won the Daytona Road Course this year. His 4 other starts in the Cup Series have been awful finishes. As I mentioned before with Eric Jones, though, that 20 was at its best, which is the car that Bell drives now at Watkins Glen. So Bell starting 7th. It's too risky for me to play him in the Slingshot contest, but I can understand anybody that wants to because the upside is definitely there. I think he can finish top 5, top 3, possibly challenge for the win. Probably not, but there's opportunity there. Who I'm really targeting in this area, Kurt Busch, $9,500 in the Slingshot contest this week. He starts back in 17th, and looking at him on road courses, this year, 4th, 6th, 27th, which was COTA, that rain race, and then 4th. Before that, he hasn't finished outside of the top. He has 2 finishes worse than 14th since the 2012 season on road course races. Very solid road course racer. Here specifically at Watkins Glen, we can pull that up really quick. Top 11 in the last 7 races here. So since 2012. Love the Kurt Busch play here, starting 17th. And that leaves you $8,500 to work with. Now, you have some options here. Chris Buescher is always a somewhat sneaky play on road courses. If you wanted to, he has about like top 12 upside, and he's going to finish between 12th and 18th typically, unless he gets in very good position at the end, and then he might sneak into the top 10. He starts 24th, so definitely, place differential for sure. Picks up 9 spots and finishes 15th. That's 18 points in the Slingshot game. Who I would that's definitely a safe pick. Chris Buescher is a safe pick with this lineup. If you're going Elliott, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher is a safe pick to throw in there as a last driver. Who I would probably go after, though, is starting 12th, Ross Chastain. And the reason being, he has suddenly just turned up and become one of the better road course racers. So we saw him finish 4th at COTA this year, and I chalked it up as, a fluke because it was a rain race. Then he finished 7th at Sonoma and then 7th at Road America too. When you see results like that, it's not a fluke. It's just not. And the Ganassi cars aren't awful at road courses. Obviously we just went over Kurt Busch and his stats. So if I'm doing this lineup, I'm going Chase, I'm going Kyle Busch, I'm going Kurt Busch, I'm going Chastain. So I'm hitting the 2 Ganassi cars, and then I'm rounding it out with Chase Briscoe. That leaves me $500 to work with. Can easily go off of Kyle Busch and hit Kyle Larson if I want to, or even go from Chase Elliott down to Kyle Larson. Gives me an extra $800 to play with. I wouldn't jump off of Kurt Busch and go to Brad Keselowski. I'm not going to take the pole sitter this week. I don't like Keselowski isn't even great at road course races, but you can still, if you go Larson, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, leaves you plenty of room to, work in these with these upper top price drivers. But other than that, I wouldn't go. I don't see any reason to dip down into the super low drivers this week. Like the Davisons or anything like that. Yes, they might sneak in a top 25 finish, but you can afford to do a more central roster this week and get potentially, if you have Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Chastain, and Briscoe, you can put all 5 in the top 15 and maybe even 4 in the top 10, and that's gonna that's going to give you a great score in this slingshot game. So absolutely nothing wrong with a roster like that, or even Chris Buescher there instead of Chastain. Like I said, I don't hate that either. But yeah, like I said, this is a pretty cut and dry week. By the way, race winner pick is Chase Elliott because he's just so good at these road course races. But yeah, I think this is a pretty easy week to make picks, and good luck. Hopefully everyone comes back to play. I know a lot of times when we get off weeks, like we just had 2 off weekends. A lot of people kind of just forget about Fantasy NASCAR, especially a free game like the Slingshot Contest. So if you come back and you keep playing, thank you. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying it. Obviously you are if you're still playing. And good luck this week. And we got the Indianapolis road course next week, which is going to be same-day qualifying. So I won't be putting together a video like this for that race. But yeah, we'll see you after that for Michigan. So good luck this weekend at Watkins Glen. Should be, hopefully it's a good race. Hopefully it's not just Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson dominating, but at the same time, that's probably pretty likely. So good luck. See ya.